Okay. What's up, guys? This is the whatever podcast.
Get out of here. Oh my
Uh,
God.
what's going on, guys? Welcome back
Okay.
to the Words from the Nerds podcast. We are here today with a very, 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 very special guest, Benjamin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Charles. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. It's a glorious night. We're here to talk about this terrible episode of She-Hulk. Aiden, how are you doing?
I'm good. Ready to talk about this amazing episode of She-Hulk.
If that doesn't give you guys a little bit of a taste of where our opinions kind of vibe here after this episode 4 of She-Hulk, then well, actually, I don't think Ben has given his little tease of his thoughts. So Ben, I'll let you don't give your full thoughts. Just
I won't. When it comes to what you guys have said, I feel like I'm kind of Switzerland because I'm not. I don't think it's trash, and I don't think it's amazing. So I'm kind of in between, but I'm leaning more towards I really didn't enjoy it. That's kind of the side I'm on at this point.
Yeah. There was when I said trash, that's a bit harsh. I don't think it's trash, but I'll get into my opinions in a second. But sticking with this new format, we're going to say right off the bat, if you guys are enjoying the episode, if you enjoy this episode, if you enjoy some of our other content, please hit the like button. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You don't want to miss it. We're here every week. Actually, tomorrow, if you're somehow listening to this, if you're just a hardcore fan, you're on top of stuff, We are going to be live tomorrow morning for D23, talking about all of the cool MCU stuff that's going to be announced, and hopefully it is a ton of cool stuff. Honestly, I just want the Fantastic Forecast. I'll be happy. I said that about Comic-Con, and they blew me away. So I'm sticking with that this time too. But if you're on Spotify, please drop us a rating. We would super appreciate it. If you're on any other sort of podcast listening platform, if you can drop us a rating, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. But yeah, I guess I'll jump in first.
I just want to say real quick, all our 2 fans, we're live tomorrow on YouTube for D23. And
Is that a knock at me, Aiden?
No, but whenever I've been wanting to say that, I've been wanting to be like, oh, everybody, if you comment, like, subscribe, and I'm always like, I wonder how much people actually like come back every week or like, look at this. And then you brought it up, Ben, and I was like, okay, I'm not the only one that feels that way. Like,
yeah, I said
2
that.
of y'all, thank y'all.
I said that, but I did say all 2 people. So
you did?
That's why I thought you were making a reference to what I said.
Oh well, yeah. Let's make it a reference then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we got like NLE. Shout out NLE. He's always in here. So
yeah,
there's one of the 2. But okay. So this episode for me, it was obviously we talked about it before we started recording. I feel like what sums it up is fun, and fun is you can take that however you want to take it. I mean, okay, you can't take it however you want to take it. It is fun. It is enjoyable, but it didn't do as much as say the past 3 episodes did for me. And I know I talked about it last week that episode 2 kind of took a dip for me, but episode 3 brought it back up, and now this one was even lower than episode 2 for me. So I can't knock the show because I think it understands what it is and what it wants to be. It's definitely a comedy show. This episode felt like such a throwaway thing, like in the vein of I don't know, say something like New Girl or The Office. Like, it just doesn't really seem like it needs to be paid attention to, I guess. There's nothing major that needs to be remembered. But everything that it did, I will say, I remember last week I harped on the magical elf from Asgard, New Asgard, pretty hard, saying that it was like a Disney Channel thing. I liken that to like Madison in this episode, and I think Madison was immensely better than the elf from last episode. I found her much funnier, much more funny. I don't know I can't think of correct terminology right now, but I found her much more enjoyable. Everything she did with Wong, Aiden's been saying it nonstop before we started recording.
Wongers!
Yeah, that's like, she has some funny stuff. Like in the courtroom, she's like, "Case closed." And I was like, okay, that's pretty funny. There's some funny stuff, but then it was like such a B plot thing going off to the side. I get it is a lawyer show, so like we're doing different cases each episode, and so again that speaks to the show knows what it is. But I just feel like there is still an overarching story that they have been speaking to these past 3 episodes, and then this one took a great deviation from it. It was still fun, but just wasn't quite what I wanted to continue. Like they just last episode mentioned that there was a boss that those two do that not two dudes, but those couple of guys were trying to get blood from She-Hulk. They said the boss isn't going to be happy or whatever. Let's maybe talk a little bit more about the boss and who that potentially might be. Like lead up to it a bit more. I know that's a totally separate discussion though about people's issues with the formulaic nature of these MCU shows and having mystery bosses, but yeah, that's all I can think of at the moment. So I'll let's pick Aiden because he has such a stark difference than Ben and I probably do.
I mean, it's not that much that crazy of a difference. Like, I did enjoy the episode, and I did think it was like up there. I think last episode was a little bit better. I think I liked the episode a little bit more. But episode 4 is second. I think episode 4 was like the second most enjoyable out of the 4 we have so far. At the same time, I can admit to some of the faults. Like, I have in my notes right here, courtroom scenes have been kind of corny, and it's like I know Straw Hat made a video on this saying it's like, oh well, would you compare Brooklyn 99 to Criminal Minds? And it's like, no, in terms of like it being a cop show and dealing with that, just like why would you compare She-Hulk to any other lawyer show? And it's like, okay, I get what you're saying there. It's kind of more funny. That it's not taking itself too serious. But that, I can't lie, like the whole Donnie Blaze stuff and then the judge just switching up that fast in the courtroom scene, it was just like, come on, what's even going on here? Like, I'm so lost. There's so much going on. Who's this old dude sitting next to Donnie Blaze? That, like, is that his lawyer? Like, it's just so much crazy stuff. Um, and so those kind of scenes, and then like we talked about it last week, like with the elf and everything, I felt like Donnie Blaze was that for this episode. And it's like, I don't know if I can do that every week. And I mean, even jumping towards the end here, like what you said about the boss and like showing us the big boss, and we have to have this overarching theme, or like kind of something lurking in the shadows of the show and then popping out at the end or whatever. We need something there. And the best thing they could come up with is Titania trademarking She-Hulk's name. And it's like,
That
what?
was
Like,
strange to me too. That was
yeah,
strange.
it's like we can't find a better way to work her in. We can't find a better way to make her like a threat to She-Hulk or to the show. Like, we can't set that up better. And so that, I was just kind of like, I but those are like my gripes with it. Those are the two main things that I was just kind of like, oh man. And it's overshadowed by not overshadowed, but slightly it weighs less than like the Madison stuff, the Wong stuff, her fighting those demon bats, and the whole CGI that was in all that. I thought it was amazing. I thought she looked good. I thought some of the CGI was better on her when the lighting is dark and when it's not bright. So I was able to finally appreciate how she looked in the show, and it didn't take me out. Um, I like how they gave her a lot of emotional stuff dealing with like that guy just giving her what making her a one night stand because she was in Jen form. Like, damn, dude, I felt so bad for Jen because she's just sitting there smiling like, I made breakfast, and he's like, nah. And I was like, damn, dog, that sucks. And then even like the little jokes in here and stuff. So like there's a lot of good, and there's definitely some bad. I just enjoyed the good more than I didn't like the bad, if that makes sense. You know, that's where I'm
Okay, that's fair. Real quick before Ben goes, I wanted to that moment you talked about. I think that was probably the highlight of the episode for me because that brought something else other than the silly campiness of the episode. Just that look that she had, which told us so much about like the how she feels. Because even earlier in the episode, she talked about when she was She-Hulk. As soon as she got all these matches, she said this is demoralizing for Jen, and she said it as like a joke to us, but I mean clearly it does weigh on her. It's starting to, or maybe just starting to, but that look that she gave just said so much, like she of how much this She-Hulk thing, she doesn't really want it. She's talked about not really wanting it in past episodes, and then just this just further emphasizes that truth for her, I feel like. But yeah, Ben,
Yeah.
what were your thoughts on the glorious episode here?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Aiden that there were some things that I really enjoyed. I do think the scene with She-Hulk and Wong fighting off the demon bats. I thought that was some really cool stuff, and seeing some things that we haven't before, like Wong just taking a portal and moving it, or then turning it into like a
Whirlpool.
whirlwind to suction the bats through. That stuff was kind of cool. It's kind of weird that we haven't seen things like that done before. I mean, we've seen moving portals that like move forward, but moving side to side, I don't think we've seen at this point. So it was cool. I do think that it was very enjoyable throughout. I think a lot of the jokes and just the tone of the show works generally well. But I feel like in this episode, it kind of undermined the serious side, because I feel like from the very beginning, they were setting her up that she was such a great lawyer, and she had talked so many times about how credible she is at her job. And this episode, specifically the courtroom scenes, it felt like it made, for me, it made me view her worse as a lawyer, just for some of like the decisions that she was making. And even the fact that they took on the case in general, like, it only happened because this is her show. And here's what I mean. If Wong found out about Donnie Blaze, I truly don't believe that it's in Wong's character to reach out to She-Hulk. I think Wong would just take care of it and shut him down, and not have this possibility that a judge would rule that he's able to continue doing what he's doing. Wong would say, it's against our rules. He's an ex-student. He would take it into his own hands and do it. So like the fact that all of this is even happening felt really out of character for Wong, but it also really undermined how I viewed Jennifer Walters as a lawyer. So that to me was like the biggest thing. Is I feel like while there was a lot of good things, it kind of did a disservice to some of these characters, and it did it at the expense of the enjoyability factor, which is kind of where my biggest gripe was. Is I had fun with it, but some of it, I guess, just kind of disappointed me and wasn't the direction that I was hoping that they were going to go with the show. It almost became a little too campy and too willing to just do whatever just for the sake of the jokes.
That's actually something I didn't think about, was the Wong aspect that you mentioned. Because that's
Yeah.
I feel like especially last episode, it's very much in his character. It shows like he broke Abomination out of prison just to train to be a better Sorcerer Supreme, and he didn't care about the legal ramifications of it. And as soon as they were presented to him, and then he ran from it, because he can do that. It doesn't matter. He can get away wherever he wants to from these people. So then, why wouldn't he just? And especially because he's such a hardcore rule follower. You watch other things like No Way Home and tells Steven, like, yo, don't do this dangerous spell type thing. You would figure, like, this kid we taught him, he's an ex-student, and he stole one of our sling rings or whatever. So he's our problem now. So I should be able to take care of him. So that's actually a valid point. I didn't consider that at all. But I one other thing I wanted to touch on. I think what Aiden said, the trademark thing. It was also confusing to me because how can, I mean, I don't know how the legalities of it work, but how can Titania sue her? Or was it just a cease and desist? I can't remember what it said, but how can she sue her for the trademark if Jen never made any money off of it? I don't think, right? Or
yeah. No, you're very correct, because I know a little bit more about like trademarking versus copywriting, because there is a difference between the two. And I'm also confused to that extent, because the only thing that we have seen Jennifer Walters do is use it in her dating profile and using it in her law firm. Technically, she is She-Hulk as the lawyer. That's how she was hired, which to me, that's the only potential legal ramification, is that she's using it for her business, which is her source of income. But also, when she would have been hired in that position and in that way, like, if it was such a big deal, that would have been part of her process of becoming a lawyer in the position she is. So I also don't understand. Like, I'm curious how they're going to explain that, because it doesn't make sense to me either. And even when she said, like, oh, this is a bummer way to end the episode, I'm like, is it really that, like, I don't see it as that big of a deal, because I don't even see how it makes sense that it's happening. And whatever it is, I feel like it's going to be very, very minor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was just saying what I said earlier. I feel like there's a better way to set her up with what I mean. I say that, but we still don't know what they're doing with Titania's character or how big she'll factor in, which I'm assuming pretty big because like set photos are showing Mark Ruffalo fighting her or like Mark Ruffalo coming back to Earth to deal with her. So it's like, okay, if she's this big, if we know she's going to be coming back, if we're assuming that this is what brings Daredevil into the mix, why are we setting it up by a trademark? Like, why are we setting it up by you trademarking She-Hulk's name? That's like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's the most boring way you could work a threat into a story, but it kind of is because I'm just like what Ben said, I don't feel anything about this. You know, where she's like, "Yeah, this is a bummer way to end the show." It's like, okay, like yeah, if she would have like killed your family, yeah, that'd be a bummer way to end the show. That set her up as a big threat or
Oh my
something
gosh,
like
Aiden,
that.
gee whiz.
What?
Wow,
Right? Like
you didn't
I
have
was
to
like,
go that far.
I was like, I'm trying to think. I was like, I was just gonna say it because I'm gonna have to edit it out or whatever. Yeah, I'm keeping it. She came in and I don't know, wanted to snap half the world. Okay, yeah, that's a big threat. She's a big villain. Okay, cool, let's go with that. But she comes in like, oh, I trademarked your name, so now I'm suing you. It's like, I don't know.
Like
It's just
bummer
like,
for you, maybe Jen, not for me. I'm
yeah,
chilling on my couch.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm tripping.
I'm chilling. Like, it's not the end of the world for you. Okay, your name got trademarked. Like, I'm sure you
You can
can work your
represent
way
yourself.
around it. You're 7 foot tall. You can deadlift a ton. You know, you can squish her, bro. Like, what is this threat you're talking about? I don't know. That was just
Well,
my
were you saying you brought up bringing Daredevil into it? Are you saying that there's a possibility that like she hires Daredevil as her lawyer to fight this case?
that'd be interesting.
No, it
But
wouldn't. It
but
would not.
still, I mean, it'd be interesting. Probably not the whole trademark case, but like hiring Daredevil as her lawyer, that'd be cool. But for the trademark, or like just being like, huh, I need a lawyer. Let me reach out to Daredevil, who this superhero who's in New York. It's like, really, you couldn't find Pug or something. You couldn't find anybody else. You had to be like, oh, this Daredevil character from New York.
Well,
I
then
guess
the
they do have to bring him in somehow. I guess
well,
how
yeah.
how do they get him to L.A.?
What I
How?
was gonna say is like everybody's been believing that he's gonna come in the fifth episode, which is next
Yeah,
week. So based on where we're at, how do they justify
yeah.
them connecting? You know?
That doesn't make sense to me right now. It doesn't
Yeah.
like because we know at least one of the times that we see more multiple times she has her power suit while they're running around doing superhero stuff. We haven't even seen her get that suit yet. I'll be honest. Before she was served these documents, I thought that was going to be her suit in the case, and I don't know who I thought made it for her, but I just thought this random dude was delivering it to her, and like her best friend who doesn't know anything about her sizes or maybe anything like that would have made it. But this is just my head doing stupid things. But yeah, that's what I thought at first, and so that's how I thought it would. But at this point, I don't see Daredevil coming in next episode.
Did you see the mid-season trailer that they dropped today?
Yeah,
I did.
I'm just
it was really
like,
good. That was really no,
it was.
I liked it.
Oh yeah, it was really cool. I'm just like, how do we get there? Like, we've spent all this time in this bright, well lit lawyer office that she's in, at this firm, doing all this other crazy stuff. How do we get to, nighttime? I'm assuming Hell's Kitchen, this like green factory that they're in, and all the promotional stuff. Fighting Titania. I don't know. It's just like I think Matt Murdock in the trailer, he had said something along the lines of like embracing who you are as She-Hulk or something like that. He was
He
he
said
was
a really
praising her.
cool, yeah. He
Yeah,
said a
he
really
was.
cool line. It was like when society fails people,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can help her as a lawyer, help them as a lawyer, and then when the law fails them, you can help them as She-Hulk.
Oh yeah, and
And that was really that was
and
sick.
then she was like, what did she say? She like it was like
Oh,
flirting
she
about
said,
him.
yeah, she said, I
He's
don't know about you guys, but this guy's really doing it for me, or something
yeah.
like that.
So it's just like, how do we get there? How do we get there? How do we get there? There's no way all of this is so serious a trademark I can tell, like, okay, someone trying to get Jen's powers. Okay, that could be serious because maybe they're working for someone huge that is connected with Daredevil. I don't know. However you want to work that, but a trademark being the main reason that She-Hulk and Daredevil come into contact on two opposite sides of the United States, it's like, come on. And right now, that's all we have to build off of. Episode 4. But that was just like kind of head scratchy to me.
Yeah, I mean, we're almost halfway through the show and there's not really a clear direction of where things are going. There's like a lot of different ideas that they could try to explore and focus in on, but then it's like each episode there's just something new and different and they keep switching it up. And it's like, how is this going to hone in, because we are, halfway through the show. So where is this going? How is it all going to connect? Because I don't see it either. But I mean, I also don't see how we got from the first episode to this episode. So maybe it's not going to connect coherently, because so far the show's been kind of all over the place with what it's been introducing. So who knows? I hope that they have some good focused vision for what actually is going to happen for the rest of the show. But if it continues how it has right now, I don't know. It would be like every episode is enjoyable on its own, but as a full show, it would be kind of messy, at least in my opinion.
So far, it's seeming like a case of the week kind of thing. Like there's a different thing every time, and not in the sense of like Black Mirror. Like there is still some connections. Like obviously She-Hulk in each episode, and like we talked about, Jen dealing with her own emotions of trying to be She-Hulk, even though that's really not explored that much yet. But I guess most comparable would be, I think I mentioned earlier, The Office. Like there's not, it's just different things each episode that happen to be super funny, and which again I can speak, if that's what the show's going for, that's great. I don't feel like they ever really communicated that aspect of it really. Like they said it was a comedy show, yes, but you can still do a comedy show and have it be very thorough and connected throughout the entire season, and thought through and thought provoking. But this one, if they had told us that it was going to be like a office style thing where it's something different each week and not technically carrying over all these certain things, then I'd be fine with it. But I don't know. Maybe it's just taking me a while to adjust to that. Maybe I don't know. It's just this episode was the most glaring example of that for me. So maybe now that I know that going into it, hopefully next week can be a bit better for me. But
Yeah, I was watching the trailer they dropped today. It's just, yeah, Ben, you made a good point. Like we're almost halfway through and we have like no direction. These past 4 episodes have just been, like, yeah, a case of the week. Good on their own, but like overall, like a story. If Titania is our end game, we saw her in episode 1 and then we got a reference to her this episode. And then some Easter egg spoiled in the other two. And it's like, okay, then what were these 4 episodes for? Like, to give us Emil Blonsky, who we know is going to show up again in Abomination form. So it's like, what was the point of that whole trial? He's going to show up again. He's going to turn into Abomination again. Is he just going to get put back in jail? Like, how does that get resolved? And obviously everything with Jen and her lawyer stuff. But it's like, yeah, we have no direction. And we still have a lot we have to do, the whole Frogman stuff. We have to see what his whole deal is. And then obviously Matt Murdock. We got to revisit with Emil Blonsky, apparently, and then Titania, all this stuff. And it's just kind of like, is 30 minutes a week going to do that? 30-minute case of the week episodes going to do that and get us to where we need to go? Or are you just gonna, is it just gonna be like another Miss Marvel situation where like starts off pretty good, does some questionable things, and then it's like, oh, penultimate episode and finale. And you're like, how did we get here? You know? Um, which is not what I really wanted from this show or any MCU show going forward. So I hope that's not the case, but I can't like I can't help but like just fear that that's where we're going.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, One thing I did like about this episode as well was I thought the CGI was really well done for She-Hulk. That fight scene in the theater performance room, whatever it
Oh
was,
yeah.
she looked really good. I don't know if it was just the lighting of that. I know there's a lot that goes into the CGI of it all, obviously, lighting being one of those things. But it seemed like all the low light sequences that she was a part of, including like her own house, were when she looked the greatest. Even
Yeah.
with that one scene of her making the match account matcher, I think it's called,
Hmm.
which in the trailers was clowned on pretty heavily because of how bad she looked. I think it looked a lot better though.
Yeah, I do think in general it looks really good. I think the darker setting helps because it hides a lot of the details, so it's harder for us to focus on it where we're used to seeing her in her corner office where there's very, very bright lights shining on her. I also think the reason why the fight scene looked so good is because her movement was quite a bit quicker. Whereas, like, when she's slowly, she's just walking at a normal pace, it's easier to notice those details that just don't feel right for us to watch, feel like a video game character walking. Whereas when she's doing like a fight scene, she's doing a lot of things that are not normal. She's doing these extravagant moves to have the fight scene. So it's harder for us to like pick out and say like, oh, that looks incorrect because it's not like it's just walking that we're so used to seeing. So I think that helps it as well. But yeah, I think the CGI did look great. Even just for the little bat creatures, I think it looked
Yeah.
really good. And I feel like they've completely nailed all of the stuff with portals. Like that was the case in episode 3 as well, when even Wong was just coming into the prison where Emil Blonsky was. Like the portals, the reflections, the lighting on it, everything with that I think looks great. But yeah, She-Hulk looked way better because episode 3 she didn't look good like for most of it in my opinion. So I think they're trying to lean into their strengths a little more, and like they should know the best time and place and the best settings to have her in. But I feel like it's just going to keep being hit or miss throughout the series as she's in different situations like that.
Um, no, but yeah, I thought the CGI was super like impressive in those moments. Even like yeah, like you said, the man bats and all that, and the action. I thought it was all like super satisfying, and I'm glad that it looks good um, in like dimly lit situations because it looks like that's where the next couple episodes will take us. At least with all the Daredevil stuff, every time we've seen them, it's been a dim lit room or it's been outside at night. So I'm very excited for that. I'm glad it did look way better because I had been waiting for it to kind of pick up, especially after the whole like video game character stuff. Like it was just me and Charlie were talking about it last week. Like I can't help but not be taken out of the show when I'm watching it, and I'm just kind of like, ugh, it just doesn't work for me. Um, Speaking of Daredevil and stuff, at the beginning of the episode, we were like panning over Los Angeles. I don't know why. It was like I don't know if it's her theme song or maybe it is, and I just completely blanked. But when I heard that theme and I saw that we were panning over some city at night, I was like, oh, my mind immediately went to Daredevil. And I was like, we're in Hell's Kitchen. We're about to like pick up on Daredevil. I was like, bro, this is like some type of Daredevil esque theme. And my mind just like immediately shot, especially because critics were all saying that episode 4 was amazing. Um, and then I was quickly humbled by the horrible Donnie Blaze. And so I guess I am like the only one the only one that thought we were getting anything Daredevil at the beginning. Because I wasn't expecting him at all this episode, and I'm not expecting him until maybe like 5. So I was like, oh, Regan Daredevil, and then no, okay, it's this Donnie Blaze fool. So
At least you could say you weren't the only one that thought that we were gonna get Ghost Rider this episode. Or I guess
yeah,
not. They didn't think we were gonna get him, but they thought that whole Donnie Blaze thing was an Easter egg for him. So, I mean, maybe it was. Maybe just the name was, but I
yeah.
don't think so.
I'm wondering why. Like, what's the point of that? Not that I don't like it. Like, I think it's a cool Easter egg, but it's like, why? Like you couldn't name him something else. Like
Yeah,
I don't know. They're teasing, like, especially with the Wolverine stuff. It's like,
yeah,
why? Unless
yeah,
I'm scared that they're just doing it to be like, hey, look at this. Like, we're being super meta, but it doesn't mean anything at all. Because it's
yeah.
like,
That's what I think about the Wolverine one. Because like,
yeah,
if that's true, that means he's out there somewhere, and I don't subscribe to the idea that the mutants are out there right now and they're just chilling. Like I don't like
yeah,
that.
Mm.
yeah. I just, at this point, I don't really, at this point in time, I don't see the point in all this stuff because I'm like, okay, how should we take it? Should we just take it as like, look at this fun little self ref? I'm not even gonna try and say that. Um,
Referential.
yeah, cameo or like this little self. What Charlie said, Easter egg. Like, are we just supposed to take it like that? Like, hey, look, we're making fun of ourselves and teasing y'all. Like, oh, but don't think too much of it. It's like, why? Why? To
I
get the show
don't
talked about more?
I don't think it's that though. Okay, because they just recently revealed that there is somebody who works at Marvel and their entire job is to focus on the timeline. They just connect all of the events to make sure it's coherent. That's his entire job, which sounds wild, but clearly there's a lot going on and a lot that's still going to happen. But I don't think that a detail like that is just something that's going to be overlooked. Now, the biggest offender of this happening has to be Quicksilver and WandaVision becoming Ralph Boner, because that was just one of the worst things that they've done in recent years, in my opinion. But the reason why I don't think that this is just a little Easter egg is because the other article was about the Eternals movie. And like, if they were paying enough attention to say like, oh, let's throw in a little nod to the Eternals movie, why would the second thing be like, oh, let's just make some satirical joke that will get people's hopes up about X-Men or Wolverine being in the MCU? I don't know that they would do that about something that serious. But then again, they did it with Quicksilver, so maybe they would take something that important and just have it as a slap in your face and it not mean anything. I don't know. I just don't feel like that's going to be the case. I think that they're paying attention to where things are going, and Kevin Feige expressed in an interview recently that the X-Men are going to be coming into the Marvel Cinematic Universe sooner than we might expect, is what he said, because somebody said like Phase 10 should include the X-Men because Phase X and yeah, it was a really dumb
Uh,
question, but somebody brought it up and they're like, yeah, Phase X, the X-Men, and he basically just said like, oh no, they're coming a lot sooner, which to me says, during this multiverse saga we could potentially get them. um I don't know. I think they heard the backlash from Ralph Boner, and why would they do that again? Like that would just be the second dumbest thing that they've done in recent years, just to tease fans in that way. I think that'd be so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of which again, this speaks to tomorrow for D23. There's a lot of stuff for Phase 6 that we don't even know about yet. So one of those things could be mutant stuff, and I and I hope that is not like I mentioned with the mutants just chilling around, because unless they have a really good explanation for that, I wouldn't like that. But that question that just seems so like I feel like it'd be obvious that they're gonna come in before Phase 10, considering right now they just got all the rights back and we're in Phase 4. Like I don't what kind of person was that? Anyway, I wanted to bring this up. This is a very small thing that like slightly annoyed me, but it shouldn't have annoyed me, and I don't think it really annoyed me. Maybe I was just thinking it did. But when they put on the sling ring and then they just do this now. What is this?
yeah,
I thought you had to do the whole thing, but then you can just do this. What is that? When did we start doing that?
Well, okay, there's another portion of it that I really disliked, and I get that he was an ex-student, but like in the first Doctor Strange movie, the hardship that Steven went through to be able to open a portal and how much work it took him, and how like he had to build such a strong mindset to be able to do it. The fact that Donnie Blaze can just do it the way that he can, I feel like, and I talked about how this episode undermined a lot of things. I feel like that's another thing that it undermines, is just like the effort that it actually takes to perform the mystical arts from how it was presented in the original Doctor Strange movie. Like that's just kind of any Joe Schmo can learn how to do it and do it decently well and just, wave his fingers and open a little fiery portal. I don't know. That's just kind of dumb to me.
Or
That was one
not.
of my issues with Ned in No Way Home too.
Oh yeah,
He was
yeah.
able to do it super quick without any practice as well.
Well, he wasn't the best at it, to be fair.
True, like he
but
didn't know how to close it, but neither did Donnie Blaze, I guess, because he just left
Yeah.
it open for all the bats to fly back through. You know.
I feel like Ned's a little bit of a bigger offender because just for the cool reveal of Toby, he waved his fingers and a portal opened behind him, which, that totally makes sense. That's how we know portals to work. But they only did it just for the reveal of Toby. So
Yeah. But not even that. You would think that Donnie Blaze, after training in the mystic arts and going to Carmitage and learning everything that he knows now, then why is he such a prick? Why is he such an a-hole, bro? You would think spending that much time at Carmitage and all the warriors we saw in Multiverse of Madness and everyone that was willing to put their lives on the line to defend Carmitage and everything, that he's just a prick. Not even Doctor Strange was that bad, and Doctor Strange is probably even more egocentric than Donnie Blaze before he started training. So I don't know. I just really hated him.
I think because they said he's an ex-student, I think he probably got like kicked out before like he went. So maybe he was like really douchey, and then so they just kicked him out before he could finish.
No, I think that makes sense. I mean, the reason why the Warriors there are as strong as they are is because the training there is so harsh. And there's definitely like, if you take a big group of people and you have really harsh training, there's probably going to be some people who are just like, no, this sucks. Like, I hate this, and have a bad attitude and get kicked out or do terrible in it. So I think it makes sense actually that they're the people who were unsuccessful and did get kicked out. They probably really didn't like the training there because of how like strict and harsh they are.
It seems like, I guess the way I took Carmitage, and this just could be because my memory is so horrible. The way I took everything that happens at Carmitage and all the training and everything is like, all right, there's these people that are willing to go through this training. They're willing to be these warriors and train in the ways of the mystic arts. So why is like this, it's kind of like this private school, or or like, okay, only the best and only the ones that are willing to put the work in. So why is this frat dude just some dude that like gets to go train in the mystic arts, knows how to use magic, and then just like dip? And I don't know. I guess just I would think that someone who trained in the mystic arts and went through all of that, ex-student or not, like wouldn't be as much of like a college frat boy douche as he was. I don't know. That's just like, it was just kind of weird to me because we hadn't seen anything like that yet, in any of the Doctor Strange movies.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like Wong would have just pulled up, shut him down, said, "All right, peace," and chilling. We could have a better episode than this waste of 25, 30 minutes.
I know. He did want to send him to the mirror dimension though, so you have to respect Wongers for that.
That was a funny line.
But why?
I forgot about that one. Can I send him to the Mirrorverse? He probably won't even die. It's so funny.
I don't see Wong as the person to like ask permission for that though. Given episode 3 when they said you just admitted to a crime, and he's like, I must depart. Like,
he's like, I gotta go watch The Sopranos. I got time for this.
I feel like why did Wong go and sit in front of a judge and try to plead a case when it was shown in the previous episode? He just pulls up, does his thing, commits a crime. He doesn't care. He just dips. Like that's kind of who he is. He just takes care of business. So I don't know. I feel like the more that we're talking about this, the more I'm realizing just how much this episode like undermines so much in this show and so many other characters in past movies, and just I'm starting to lose the reasons why I enjoyed it. No, okay. It's still an enjoyable show. Like, I had a good time watching.
It's fun on face value. Yeah,
it is fun, but the fun is at the expense of some of these other things, like the characters and the storylines, and it it just doesn't make sense, and it does it just for the jokes.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're at there. I mean, speaking of funny lines, I think we got one of the most brutal lines, like in the MCU. Obviously, that's satirical, but whenever she's on that date with that one dude, and he's just like obviously being a jerk the whole time on his phone, and then he leaves, and he's like, she was like a 6, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, bro, damn, that's imagine you're on a date, bro. Like, you found a date on Tinder and you're with this girl, and she's like, yeah, he was kind of mid. I don't know. Like, he's just like 5 out of 10, in my opinion. Dog, I'd cry, bro. I'd cry myself to sleep. That's
The
so
editing
brutal.
in that scene was actually really cool with the check, because
Yeah, I
because
like. I
like
was just about to say, I like.
yeah,
That.
we know this, we know the situation, and usually, well, it does depend. I don't know how this like online dating sphere works, but the
Yes,
way
you do. Yes, you do.
okay. But the way that I grew up is, whoever asks the other person on a date should pay for the date, and that's just how it should work. Like if you initiated the date, you're taking on that responsibility. I don't know, we don't know the details of how this worked, but them just making eye contact and then the camera panning down to the check and then the music, the editing was really cool. And Charlie was right that like that whole the dating side of things, yes, it was for jokes, but it also did give us the little bit of more serious moments and character development in this episode, which otherwise, was kind of mid. Not
Yeah,
gonna
I
lie.
feel like that was the only piece that was really deeper in this episode was that aspect
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
it.
Okay, I'm gonna say something that's gonna make Aiden very happy. And Charlie, I don't know how you're gonna feel about this. After this episode, I am willing to say that Jennifer Walters is not as good of a lawyer as Saul Goodman.
Let's get it. That's what I'm talking about.
I can't believe you
That's what
fold
I'm
that quick.
talking
You folded
about.
that quick after one
Yes,
measly episode.
sir.
I just
One
wanted to say
measly episode.
I haven't even seen Better Call Saul. I just wanted to say that just for
Well,
stirring the pot, just for fun.
I'm interested to see, like, depending on how far you get into Breaking Bad before She-Hulk ends. Like, I'm interested to see like how you actually think as both shows go on, as you watch Breaking Bad and as She-Hulk goes on. So we'll come back to that. Another line that I thought was just so over the top, bro. Wasn't that older dude is talking to Jen and her friend at the bar, and he's like, "Can I buy you sexy ladies a round of drinks?" Like,
And then, dude,
bro.
I like how she was like, "We're very clearly working on some stuff right now. Can you please go away?" And he's like, "All right, well, when you change your mind, I'll be over here." Like, all right, dog, chill out.
Dude, like the
okay.
cojones on this man.
But if I was in her situation, I'd be just like, yeah, bring me some drinks. He brings over drinks, and I say, okay, thanks, bye. That's free drinks. Like what? Don't take it personally. Just accept the free drinks and move on with your work.
Oh man. I just thought like this dude, bro, the cojones on this dude to be like, "Can I buy you sexy ladies around a drink?" I was like, "Oh, bro, what do you
Wait,
do?"
but she wasn't in She-Hulk form, right?
No.
Okay, so her dating life consists of like when she's just herself, it's a bunch of creeps, and when she's She-Hulk, it's people who just want her for She-Hulk. So she's getting screwed both sides.
Yeah. Which sucks because she's like such a nice, like, she's so nice. Like she went for her wallet, like, because she was like, okay, like, you know what, like I'll pay, you pay, whatever. And bro just went straight for his keys.
Yeah.
And then she like made breakfast for that one dude in the morning. I was like, this sucks. But I like how she grabbed his shirt after he took it off, and she grabbed it and like
she
just a
looked
little
at us.
face.
I like how she looked at us and
Dude.
she was like, "That was cool."
Yeah, and then how she said when he asked like, "Where's my shirt?" And she's like, "I don't know." that was also pretty good. That was funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like it gets the fun aspect. Like that's
Yeah.
again, I keep saying it. Like it knows what it is, and so I'll give the show that. I just don't know if I'm loving absolutely what it is. I'm not one of these MCU is in shambles people because like they are absolutely.
Well, we were just looking on Letterboxd. That's the top comment. MCU is dead. Bury it. That's literally the top comment.
That's insane. And for the most part, those type of people are. I mean, some of them are serious, I'm sure, but for the most part, it's just they're trying to get reactions and they get the engagement that they want on TikTok and stuff like that. So I don't. That's why I don't stitch that type of stuff because it's just there's no point. They're never going to respond, and they're not, even if they do, it's just going to be more egging on to the fire type thing. I didn't say that right. That's not an expression, but whatever. It's, again, I'm not one of those people, but it's just this show, and I don't like it. I don't dislike it enough, excuse me, to want to stop watching it. But I can tell you that if I did, I would stop watching it and not continue to watch it. If any of these people that are saying these things are actually avidly hating on the MCU and just do not like the show.
It's kind of crazy that you say that, because I mean there's a lot of fandoms out there, and some have been notoriously known for being worse than others. Star Wars has been known for a while for being a toxic fan base, specifically. I mean, I guess it was all the way back when the prequels were coming out, but it's gotten worse since the sequels and everything. But nowadays it's like Marvel has started to have a corner of their fan base that's that. I mean, DC, if you hate on DC, there's some, that's kind of justified at the moment.
Yeah,
but
you're right. Your opinion's right.
But even the Lord of the Rings fan base recently with the Rings of Power, and the reason why I said it's interesting you bring that up is because when I made my video, just why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
It's just funny the way we're transitioning.
No. It's relevant.
He's like, no, I'm gonna talk my talk. I'm tired of this.
It is relevant, actually. When I made my video talking about the show and giving my criticism on it, there was a camp of people telling me, give the show some time and you might enjoy it later on. And there was a camp of people telling me, oh, you don't like it? Don't watch it. Just don't give your opinion.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And it's the same thing with She-Hulk. There's a group of people who are going to sit there and they're going to hate it, but they're going to still watch it and they're going to talk about it and they're going to give their honest opinion. And then there will be some people who just decide to stop watching it. And, that's all, like, that's your own choice to do. But like, if you're just going to hate on it for the sake of hating on it, like, that's where it's ridiculous, because my opinion on Rings of Power is just my genuine opinion. It's not just because I want to hate on it. Same thing with She-Hulk, but there is this toxic side that is, it's just wild nowadays. And you're right that it's caused a lot of controversy. I mean, we talk about it in our little group chat quite a bit. It's like, just stop with all this. People like the show or people don't like the show. Yeah. It's a comic book show, why does it have to be blown out of proportion to be all these things? And it's the same thing with everything. I would say it's the same thing with the Rings of Power. I can say I don't like it and that can be the end of it, move on. But the fact that people just engage with it and they like the drama, that is what frustrates me most. Yes, this was relevant to talk about, Charlie. You just started laughing. I don't know that you've ever like genuinely laughed that hard just while we're recording.
So good.
I was so confused.
That was so funny, man.
I heard the bass in your voice right there. Like, I just hate it. Oh man. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot to like about the show. There's a lot to dislike. I mean, with everything going on, I mean, I sent that video to y'all where that guy was just like, watch it or don't watch it. Like, who cares? And it's like, that's exactly, I couldn't put it in better words. Watch it or don't watch it. Like it or don't like it. But stop blowing it up to be something that it's not, or twisting other people's words, or just fighting so hard to make your argument win. It's just like, we're talking about this CGI 7 foot tall green woman in her own show, and you're just so mad about it. Like, just stop. It's comic book stuff. It's fiction. Y'all fighting about superheroes and fiction and fantasy land and Lord of the Rings stuff. Like, come on, like not you, Ben, but like the people that will like just get so upset and make it something that it's not, or just say your opinion's wrong because it's not what I agree with. And it's like, it gets on my nerves. It gets on my nerves. I mean, y'all know what I'm talking about, like especially like this past week and everything. It's just like, ugh, dude. I haven't even been posting that much on TikTok or about She-Hulk, because I'm just like, if I sit here and I say, hey, I really like this show, I thought it was so funny, I thought Madison was hilarious and the whole Wonger stuff, then some Batman loving nerd is gonna be like, oh, whatever, bro. It's not Batman. It's not Sigma mentality. And I'm just like, okay, I liked it, bro. Like, can I not? I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like it's getting worse. I know we're kind of transitioning and talking about just, toxicity of the fandom, but I don't know if it's just because Marvel is releasing more projects or they're doing like new and creative and different things, because clearly this show is very different from any of the other shows that they've done so far. And I think that that's a good thing. Like I was talking to somebody literally today who said Marvel hasn't felt the same since Endgame. I'm like, good. It shouldn't, they should
Yeah.
keep trying to do different things and figuring out what works and what doesn't. I don't want it to feel the same as it did for like, 10 years. But I don't know. I feel like that's just more polarizing, and there's just a lot more of a divide in the fan base, and it's giving more people more of a reason why they just want to hate it or talk about controversy or stir the pot and all these things. And yeah, it's like, okay, you like the show, you don't like the show, watch it, don't watch it, but like why is this happening? It's become too much of a serious thing when we're just talking about a comic book show. It's a Marvel show. That's all it should be. Go touch some grass, get some fresh air, calm down, chill out. Let everybody have their own opinion. Like, it doesn't have to be that big of a deal. I don't get it.
One thing I would say to that, because I don't know if either one of you saw this. It doesn't have to do with Marvel stuff. I did just upload a video, disagreeing with some guy when it comes to The Last of Us Part 2. I made like an argument, not an argumentative video. I really wasn't trying to hate on the guy. I feel like the difference comes in, like, obviously you can have your opinion. He doesn't like Last of Us Part 2, but the stuff he was saying about it he was mischaracterizing the characters within the game. And so that's where the issue lies when with the arguing stuff. I feel like if you're defending the way a character is versus, and you're describing how things actually played out versus how someone is trying to say that they did, I feel like that's a slightly different. But I don't know, maybe I'm speaking from a biased standpoint because I just engaged in some sort of altercation like that. But if you're arguing over opinions, making full length videos about, no, you should like it because this did this, and then like this is fantastic, then that's stupid, But yeah, I don't know. I think there's a difference between those two, in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you got to take a step back and be like, bro, this isn't that deep. Like, what are we doing? Two grown men. What are we sitting here doing? Like, I don't know. I can't say much on it without like, it's just so like corny, bro.
I mean, you can say whatever you want. Like, that's the thing.
I
You are allowed
yeah,
to have an opinion. And I was actually just
yeah,
about to say, like, I think it's really cool doing like a podcast with the three of us, because we all kind of had a different perspective on this episode. But even if we, jokingly said some things, I'm not going to sit there and say, Aiden, your opinion is invalid and you suck as a person
yeah.
because of these reasons. It's just like, we just gave our opinions and talked about it, and we actually like found out we agreed on most things. Like, there's no hostility, we're just talking about it, and that's all
Or
it should be.
yeah, or even sitting here being like, oh, Ben, you didn't like that She-Hulk did that. Like, why? I mean, is it some kind of hidden misogyny? Is it some kind of like
Yeah, it
incel
is.
type stuff? Stupid.
Huh?
Listen,
What did he say?
if Aiden's gonna joke about it, I'm just gonna go along with it. Okay.
But
I
it's
gotta
like,
stir the pot. I like stirring the pot.
yeah, he needs some controversy in his life. But no, it's like, yeah, maybe you didn't like this part of the I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, well, maybe you didn't like it because why don't you take a step back and look at yourself, bro? We're talking about comic book stuff. Come on, we're talking about fiction, bro. Come on, I there's a time and place for all that stuff, and it's just like, let's not over this She-Hulk MCU show. But
Yeah.
I agree with everything you said, Ben. Yeah.
And with that, I think we talked about the entirety of the She-Hulk episode. No, I'm just kidding. We talked about the entirety of the She-Hulk episode probably about 25, 30 minutes ago. There's not much in here to discuss. Like, we talked about
there
what
really
yeah.
isn't.
Yeah, it's just like, she did her dating stuff. Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna rehash it, but um, overall, yeah, I gave my opinions on like why I think this didn't really work in succession. I actually don't know if that. I don't know if I'm not going to use that word. I'm taking that word back. I don't know if that word was that correct, Ben.
It is
Thank
correct.
you. I don't know if it,
Let's
I'll
go.
continue. I'll continue then. I don't know if I really don't think it worked in succession to the past 3 episodes that we got. I don't think it was a good follow up. I hope that it can be better from here. But I feel like I say that a lot of the time. Like I said that last week because 3 was a higher up than episode 2 was, so I was hoping it could keep that trajectory. Obviously, I want the best for the show. I don't want to see the show fail. I don't want to see the MCU quote unquote fail because. Let me tell you, after Moon Knight, I had low, like I thought the
Wow.
MCU was gone. I'm just kidding, but it's this show. It does a lot. Uh, it does a lot of good, and it doesn't
Does
do
a
a
lot
lot
of
of good.
bad.
Sorry, I had something in the background. So I heard the sound come on in my earphones for a second. I was like, "What? That's weird." But yeah, and it's not perfect, and I feel like I'm coming from the point where I was super high on it, and I thought the show was really, really good. I said it was the best first episode, and now it's just kind of all right to me, and it really sucks because I feel like that's where most of the MCU shows go for me at a certain point. And so it's par for the course, and I wish that wasn't the case, but
So basically, you're a misogynist.
and let's make our own podcast.
Yeah, let's do it.
Misogyny talks.
Misogyny talks. Do you want to make a group TikTok account as well that we share?
No, I'm good on that. That's the one too. Incel talk. That's what
Incel talk.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's great. That's great.
Oh,
I do want to add because we didn't really touch on it, but compared to the first 3 episodes, I at least was hoping that the post-credit scene was going to be really good because I feel like all of the other ones have been really good. Even okay, I know episode 3 is talked about a lot and controversial, and some people are saying it's trashing on Stanley's legacy, which I totally disagree with, but I felt like that was a good warranted joke considering it was set up so well throughout the entirety of the episode. Just my opinion. Whereas this, I mean, they did set this up through the episode, but I feel like, I don't know, it didn't feel like it did anything for me because I feel like it could have just been like a part of the episode. We saw them interact. We saw her call him Wongers. It was just a little bit more of a conversation. Aiden, don't laugh at
Kid
Wongers.
loves
it's just
Wongers,
so
bro.
funny, bro.
He loves
It's
Wongers.
So funny.
I didn't like the post-credit scene or laugh as hard as I did at the past ones. Like episodes three, and specifically episode 1, I think was most of our favorites. But even the third episode, that one for me, I was laughing a good amount. I had a blast with it. It was so fun, and this one just didn't quite do the same for me.
I thought it was pretty fun. I didn't think it was like super funny, but I thought it was like, I agree, it could have been a part of the episode easily. I still thought it was a fun scene. I still thought it was a cool scene. Just like hearing them go back and forth. And she was like, "Oh my god, Wongers!" And then he's like starts feeling himself. He's like, "Oh well, yeah." It's just so funny, and like they're them two together. Like honestly, I usually hate that trope. Like just that little like, "Oh my god," and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, no, please." And then I was like, "Damn, dude, she's actually kind of funny. Like she's hilarious." Like sitting there spoiling the Sopranos for him. Like I thought that was so funny. So, but yeah, I agree. I mean, I wonder if we're ever gonna get a serious, quote unquote, serious post credit scene or like a true Marvel post credit scene. Like I remember in the WandaVision days when they would like they teased Evan Peters, Quicksilver, and Monica Rambeau like coming in contact at the end of the episode, and her finding Wanda in the basement of Agatha's house. It was a post credit scene of the penultimate episode, and I was like, oh, like let's go. And even some other ones, like some of the other post credit scenes we've had. I wonder if we're gonna get a true Marvel post credit scene in this show, or if they're all gonna be just like throwaway scenes that were pretty funny. Um, so I don't know. I guess that's something to look out for. You would think so, but yeah. I mean, my thoughts on the episode. I thought it was fun. You know, I enjoyed some of the stuff more than like some of the bad that was in the episode. I said that earlier, but I think that's why we kind of disagreed on initial like text that night, or even like the next day. Well, today actually, when Ben was like, "Yeah, I gotta agree with Charlie," but I think some of the stuff that y'all didn't like really outweighed some of the stuff that y'all enjoyed, and for me, it was kind of the opposite. Like I really enjoyed it, and so that outweighed some of the stuff that I wasn't feeling. So, but I think we're all kind of on the same page with the stuff that we liked and didn't like. So you know, in a way, we kind of agree. So yeah, I'm basically right there with you. Like I said, I just really hope this show, you know, turns around and does something, you know, really cool and makes these first 4 episodes worth what we're gonna get in the back half of the season. I guess we'll see. I don't know. I have faith, but um, just don't ruin Daredevil. Just don't ruin my boy Charlie Cox. You know, have you seen those memes where they're like, they're just like, they're just so dumb, dude. They're so dumb and corny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Kind of like Better Call Saul. All right, let's
Yeah,
guys, we'll
yeah.
see you next.
Anyways, who's that guy?
Aiden, we should make a podcast.
Oh, whatever. I'm tired of it.
We'll call it Better Call Talk.
Better.
Oh, that was the worst one all night. That was the worst one.
It's better than what Aiden suggested. Okay, let's be
What?
honest.
Oh, incel talk. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's those were our thoughts on She-Hulk episode 4. And again, I will remind everybody that we tomorrow, Saturday, September 10th, are doing our live stream, all three of us, our live stream reactions to D23, specifically the Marvel stuff. I mean, maybe we'll pop in for some of the Star Wars stuff too. If I actually we don't know we know what time it starts, but we don't know which one's going first, Star Wars, Marvel, etc. So we'll probably be there for all of it. But I will reiterate, if you guys are on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because we do this stuff every week, sometimes multiple times a week if you're lucky, but most of the time you're not lucky.
Mhm.
So then Ben, where can people find you?
All over the place, man. I've been everywhere recently. You can find me on a new TikTok account that I'm creating with Aiden. That'll be up very soon. That link will be there.
Oh my god.
I have my own TikTok, Aspire Entertainment. I post there every day. I have a failing podcast and a failing YouTube channel.
That's not how you're supposed to tell everybody where to find you. Right?
I'm not as committed as these guys to some of the other stuff that I'm doing. But
Oh my god.
yeah, main thing is the TikTok, Aspire Entertainment. I post there still every day, and yeah, I have fun, and I have fun being a guest on this podcast. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. We have a lot of fun, the three of us. Sometimes too much fun, but that's okay.
Oh my god. Jesus.
Yeah. So, and again, if you're on Spotify or any other podcast listening platform, please leave us a rating.
Charlie. Charlie's tired.
Yeah, leave us a good rating, or a bad one if you think we're
Hey,
all like
any type of feedback.
misogynist.
Any feedback is good feedback.
Yes, yeah, exactly what Aiden said. But most of you, we will see tomorrow in the stream, hopefully. And for the rest of you, thanks for listening.
And
thanks.
If there are some new faces in the stream tomorrow, this is past Aiden talking to future, past Aiden, Charlie, and Ben talking to future listeners of this podcast. Let's say you showed up to the live stream, right? And then you're like, oh, let me check out some more of their stuff. And now you're checking this episode out. Go ahead and check out some other episodes. We did a fan cast. We ranked a lot of the upcoming projects. We got some fun stuff in the works. We talked about The Boys. We talked about Kenobi. Um, and yeah, so go check out all the other stuff if you're here from the live stream. I know last live stream for Comic Con we got a couple of new subscribers, so maybe it'll happen again. If that's the case, go check out some other stuff. We do this weekly. Go check out Ben's awesome podcast, awesome YouTube channel.
That's how you hype it up.
And yeah, Charlie, you can take it away. I just wanted to talk to
Yeah.
the future for a second.
If you're from the live stream and this is what you're, go ahead and go to the comments and say ragadaga. I don't And if you're coming from this video and you're in the live stream today or whatever, say raka flaka. Say something cool. I don't know. We want to recognize the people who listen to all of our stuff. Okay, so thank you guys so much. Oh my god, thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you guys next time. Adios.
Peace.
Sayonara.